told me you love me till the day I die.
No way.
Surrender everything, 'cause you make me believe you're mine. Yeah, you used to call me baby, now you're calling me by name. It takes one to know one, yeah, you beat me at my own damn game. Pulling away from me. Again, and you take. Young blood, so you want me. I need a life, and I'm just a dead man walking tonight. 'Cause I need it, all of the time. Ooh. Young blood, so you want me. I need a life, and I'm just a dead man walking tonight. 'Cause I need it, all of the time. Conversations end like it's the last goodbye. Yeah, one of us gets too drunk and calls about 100 times. Oh, who you been calling, baby? Nobody could take my place. You looking at the strangers, hope to God you see my face. Young blood, so you want me. Out of your life, and I'm just a dead man walking tonight. 'Cause I need it, all of the time. Young blood, so you want me. Back in your life, and I'm just a dead man calling tonight. 'Cause I need it, all of the time. Pushing, pulling away from you. Again, you take. You're running around, running away from me. From me. So you want me. Out of your life, and I'm just a dead man walking tonight. 'Cause I need it, all of the time. Young blood, so you want me. Back in your life, and I'm just a dead man calling tonight. 'Cause I need it, all of the time. Pulling away from you. Again, you take. Young blood, so you want me. Out of your life, and I'm just a dead man walking tonight.
Well, good evening and welcome to LifeApp and our live event. And we're thrilled that you came here. Some of you have crossed the big ocean, the BC ferries, and you've come here to be with us tonight, and we're thrilled about that. So my name is Teresa Penner, and this is my husband, Jonathan, and together we are the founders and the directors of LifeApp. And what is LifeApp? Well, we're a health and wellness center for relationships.
Tonight, I don't know that this mic is working very well, but I will keep on talking. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. But I had a spare.
You know
just
what?
in case.
Oh, that is so prepared, babe. You know what? Just like this is a good time for a commercial break. I just want to say that in the 11th hour, at about 4 p.m., our sound person took ill tonight.
Understanding that at 4:30 we load in and start sound check.
Yeah. So up in our that booth tonight is a guy named Sean who's worked a long day and shown up for us in a big way. So could I please have an amazing round of applause? Thank you, Sean, for being here, because we could not do this without him. Okay, Jonathan, take it away.
Okay, so tonight we're LifeApp actually. Where did you just?
Where did I leave off?
Yeah, where'd you leave off?
Well, why don't we let the video tell you all about who life is, who LifeApp is.
LifeApp is.
Okay.
LifeApp is a community.
Of people of all ages, all backgrounds.
It's like a family.
Focused on relationships and learning how to love.
One of the things that I really enjoy about the way LifeApp approaches stuff is that there isn't an agenda to try to get you to a specific answer.
I love the ability to be an individual and still be connected in community.
But it's also a place where I can be vulnerable with my flaws.
People know my story and they still open their arms.
I can share my big wins, I can share my losses, my struggles, and these guys get it.
I can be myself, I can be a confident me, I can be outgoing me, and it's just the energy and the people there are amazing.
And you're always welcomed. There's no judgment.
You're just accepted and valued. Not just accepted, you're here, but you're here with us and it matters.
It helps me realize areas where my thinking is flawed and gives me the tools to kind of start addressing some of those issues.
I keep coming because I keep growing. I keep getting more love out of it. I keep being able to be myself and give, and you don't get to do that everywhere. They just really show you how to live love well.
And that keeps me coming back.
So about 6 years ago, we looked around our community.
And we said, where is it that people can learn and explore how to do well and thrive in relationships?
Who's doing a work to help people grow their relationships in the community, in the schools, in the family, in the home?
As we looked around, we said, there are faith communities that do a work.
However, if you're not a part of a faith community, you can feel like an outsider, even if you are welcomed in. Certainly, counselors and therapists are also doing an amazing job helping people to grow their relationship with themselves. That can be financially very limiting for people.
So we said, well, what if we could actually create a space
Where anybody, regardless of religious affiliation, regardless of sexual orientation, gender, regardless of your socioeconomic status, a place where everybody could come and belong and grow in their relationships with themselves and others.
But instead of being grounded in the idea of convincing and converting people, the end goal was to say, let's rally around what is love and how could we live it well? And it seems like that should be a really straightforward answer. But the truth is that there's all kinds of groups of people who talk about love, but they're not necessarily kind. Talk about love, but there's unbelievable pride that it's rooted in. They talk about love, but they treat certain groups of people as inferiors.
Here's the thing, everyone is welcome at LifeApp. However, what we have observed is that those who seek out personal growth as a priority in their lives, they're the ones that resonate most with the work that we do.
Tonight we're going to explore, tonight you're at a live event, so we're going to explore the topic of conflict, navigating conflict. How do you move from conflict to connection? And it's inevitable that we're going to have conflict. It is, who here has not experienced conflict in their life? Please step forward. It's inevitable, and when it happens, it has all kinds of different dimensions of what happens, but often it touches the heart and pricks the heart. So, Teresa, in a moment I'm going to get you to expand on that, but before you do, let's just look at an example of that.
It's wiggling. No, it's raining. No. Hey, it's wiggling. No, it's raining. No, it's wiggling. No, it's raining. My mom told me it was wiggling. It was raining. No. Yes, it is. My mom told me it was wiggling, not raining. My mom said it is raining. No, my mom told me it was wiggling. Because my mom didn't say it's raining. No, my mom said it's wiggling. My mom said it's raining. Ow! My mommy said it's. Say sorry to the wiggling. My mom told me it was wiggling. My mom is not. It's not. My mommy. rocks. We're gonna go out there and rock. It was just raining. Because it's raining. No, it's not. It just rained. It just raining. Ow. It's just raining. It's okay. It's raining. You broke my heart. It's okay. You broke my heart. Turn around and then I'm gonna get honey. And me and her can do that. Okay. There. You broke my heart. Turn around then.
Yeah. Isn't that great? I think every husband out there should learn from that little guy. Like, just drop a, "You're pretty," in the middle of a fight. Works for me. Do you know what the number one driver of intimacy is? Trust. Good, good. But no, wrong. The number one driver of intimacy is conflict, managed well. So have you ever talked to someone who says, "We never fight in our marriage"? Wow, that's a warning sign, right? So when there's a fight, it's an opportunity for gold to happen. So tonight, we've done this process on our stage. It's a process that John and Julie Gottman developed out of the University of Seattle at the Gottman Institute. We've done it on our stage before. We've done it as a family. We've done it as a couple. We've done it with another couple. And tonight, we're going to do it with colleagues. And it's powerful, whether it's done with friends, family members, mother and daughter. It is a powerful, powerful process, and it is also a powerful practice. It takes time, and it takes lots and lots and lots of practice. So get ready, because you are going to have an amazing night. We have somebody who's going to share very vulnerably and very openly about their story, and that takes a lot of courage. Before we do that, though, you know what? I'm not sure which is worse, no apology or a really, really bad one. Have a listen.
I'm really sorry. I am. I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter if you apologize if it's not sincere.
Apologies don't have to be sincere. It's just the act of the apology itself.
The art of the apology may be lost on Larry David, but the corporate suite doesn't always get it right either. After dealing with the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010, BP CEO Tony Hayward offered this.
We're sorry, actually. We're sorry for the massive disruption it's caused to their lives. And, there's no one who wants this thing over more than I do. I'd like my life back.
He got his life back. He was replaced less than 2 months later, and Comedy Central's South Park rubbed it in.
We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry.
Nothing says "I'm sorry" like free pizza. That's what Chevron offered residents of Bobtown, Pennsylvania, after one of its gas wells exploded, killing a worker. The Daily Show mocked Chevron's attempted apology.
Okay, all right, everyone calm down, okay? It sounds like you're hungry. I know just the trick. Pizza!
Comfort food couldn't help Paula Deen. She took a seat on the Today Show to apologize for making racist comments, and she got biblical.
If there's anyone out there that has never said something that they wish they could take back, if you're out there, please pick up that stone and throw it so hard in my head that it kills me.
But Dean couldn't butter up her sponsors. They fled, and her Food Network show shut down. Dean is attempting a comeback. But for Lululemon's former chairman, there was no coming back from comments about the company's high-priced yoga pants.
Quite frankly, some women's bodies just actually don't work for it.
Co-founder Chip Wilson tried to apologize after offending customers, but his mea culpa was only to employees.
I'm sorry to have put you all through this.
Sales stalled, the stock plunged, Wilson resigned. At Target, CEO Greg Steinhoffel apologized for a hack that exposed tens of millions of customers' private information. "I'm sorry" came with free credit monitoring and 10% off for a whole weekend. Sales fell, the hack expanded, he resigned.
And I'm so sorry, and I'm so apologetic.
The lesson for Donald Sterling: in business, saying sorry isn't enough. It's how you say it. Christine Romans, CNN, New York.
I can see you standing, honey, with his arms around your body, laughing but the joke's not funny at all. And it took you 5 whole minutes to pack us up and leave me with it, holding all this love out here in the home. I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending. You're not my homeland anymore, so what am I defending now? You were my town, now I'm in exile, seeing you out. I think I've seen this film before.
I can see you staring, honey, like he's just your understudy, like you get your knuckles bloody for me. Second, third, and 100th chances, balancing on breaking branches. Those eyes add insult to injury. I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending. You're not my problem anymore, so who am I offending now? You were my crown, now I'm in exile, seeing you out. I think I've seen this film before, so I'm leaving at the side door.
So step right out, there is no amount of crying that I can do for all this time. We always walked a very thin line. You didn't even hear me, 'cause you never give a warning sign. All this time, I never learned to read your mind. I couldn't turn things around. You never give a warning sign. So many signs, so many signs. You didn't even see a sign. I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending. You're not my homeland anymore, so what am I defending now? You were my town, now I'm in exile, seeing you out. I think I've seen this film before, so I'm leaving at the side door. So step right out, there is no amount of crying that I can do for all this time. We always walked a very thin line. You didn't even hear me, 'cause you never give a warning sign. All this time, I never learned to read your mind. I couldn't turn things around, 'cause you never give a warning sign. So many signs, there's so many signs. You didn't even see the sign.
Here's a question I get fairly often, which is how to have uncomfortable conversations. As you know, I talk about the importance of human skills. Cats don't have to work very hard to be cats. It comes pretty naturally to them. But for us as human beings, we actually have to work very hard to be human. And one of those human skills that we need to practice is how to have uncomfortable conversations. Being uncomfortable is part of being human. And sometimes discomfort is caused by something we have with another person, whether professionally or personally. There is a tension that causes discomfort. Now, there are many ways to respond to that discomfort. We can run away from it. That is an option. Avoidance is always an option. I don't think it's the best option because then it just perpetuates the discomfort or breaks relationships. The better way to deal with it is to lean into the tension. Now, there are also multiple ways to lean into tension. If you want to have a confrontation with someone, if you want to lean into that tension and have an uncomfortable conversation, too often when we don't have the skill set, it gets worse. And it explodes and becomes an argument and sometimes also ends in a destroyed relationship. So the skill of having an uncomfortable conversation is essential. This is how I do them. In fact, I just had one recently with a friend and it went like this. I need to have an uncomfortable conversation with you. By stating what's about to happen, it lets the person take a deep breath and know what's about to happen is leaning into tension. It also lets them be prepared and be a little less defensive. If you don't trust your skills on how to have an uncomfortable conversation, then say something like this. I need to have an uncomfortable conversation with you. I'm afraid of having this conversation because I'm afraid that I'll say the wrong thing or it'll come out the wrong way and make things worse. So please be patient with me as I try to fumble through this and get out what I need to tell you. But it's more important to me that I have this conversation with you and try and address this situation than avoid it, because this relationship matters to me and I want to go through this with you. Can we have that conversation? And I always do that. I always ask permission. Can we have that conversation? Can I have this conversation with you now? Because they may not be in the mindset for it. They may say, yes, I want to have this conversation, but can we have it in an hour, right? So as opposed to being sprung on them. So I have to have an uncomfortable conversation with you. Can I have it now? Yes. Okay. Now you want to engage in something called FBI. It's just a mnemonic. You can do it in any order, but you have to have all three. Your feelings, the behavior that made you feel that way, and the potential impact if the behavior doesn't change. Be as specific as you can. Feelings. Do better than happy, sad, angry. I'm really frustrated, or I was put on edge, or I'm feeling distant from you, or I'm uncomfortable because. Then label the behavior that they did that made you feel that way. And again, be really, really specific. Avoid things like you always ... because they'll tell you the one time that they didn't, and now you're backpedaling. Pick the most egregious or the most recent one and talk about that situation and how whatever they did made you feel a certain way, and your fear that if that continues or if it's not goes unaddressed, that something will happen. Maybe, there'll always be tension between us and the relationship will break. And that's exactly what I did with my friend. It's a relatively new friend. Something happened that made it uncomfortable. I said, I need to have an uncomfortable conversation with you. Just fumble through this with me. I don't want to, but this relationship matters to me, and so I want to have this conversation. I addressed what the situation was, and then I said, my fear is that if you and I don't lean into this now, that this little friendship, this sprouting of a friendship that we're having will get destroyed, and I would actually rather see it grow. And we had a very uncomfortable conversation, and it turned out to be fantastic because we ended up opening up to each other and revealing various insecurities and fears that were both triggered by each other. And it was just fantastic. And the relationship is even better now than it was before. So please, please, please practice and learn the skill of having uncomfortable conversations. And the way you're going to practice them is by actually having them.
I know everything you don't want me
Wow, that song so illustrates that push and pull that happens in relationship. That, I love you, I hate you, I want to get close, get away from me. And it's just this back and forth. And conflict is inevitable in a relationship. And so tonight, we're going to zero in on a specific process that helps you do a repair after a conflict. But before we do that, I want to actually walk through the whole process, five parts to this process, and also give a kind of a preemptive sense of, like, there's some assumptive things we're moving forward with. And that is, for this process to work, there needs to be an awareness, there needs to be humility, and there needs to be curiosity. So an individual we have to be aware that we've actually wronged someone, that there is actually something to repair. And surprisingly, we can actually have a lot of times where we miss the fact that we've hurt someone. Or we've overtly hurt them, and we hope that if we just move on, it'll kind of right itself. And if we look at how that works in the body, you keep on hurting and wounding an area enough times, it'll either cancer or gangrene or something will happen, and basically you'll hurt yourself, destroy the relationship. So I'm just going to run through now the overall pieces of this process. So we start with 5 parts: feelings, realities, triggers, and responsibility and plans. So this first piece is, like Simon Sinek said, we gotta actually give language to the things we felt in the moment of that conflict. So the next step is realities. We all have a subjective reality. Now, Prince William here, in the next shot, gives us another perspective. And that's the reality of all of us when we're in conflict. We don't see all angles. We think we do, but we don't see all angles. So this is critically important. You're not right. You only have one perspective. You have a subjective reality. So let's just take a moment and go a little deeper with that, because I'm going to give you about 4 or 5 other examples of what this looks like, because this one's worth drilling home.
All the boys are calling crazy girl.
I hope she sings this tonight.
I know.
Hey, Dad, pull over. We need gum.
I'm on it. Oh, honey?
Here's some money.
What do we got here?
Hello.
Hello. Well, how much are they asking?
Well, that's a lot of money for a deck.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but you're getting robbed. Did you hear me? You're getting robbed.
Ow! Stop!
Has a fractured fibula, given him a mild sedative. So I could be able to go on tomorrow.
Daddy's gonna be so excited.
All good. That killed him.
Paging Dr.
Hi, can I get a quarter with change?
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry.
Oh, Kevin.
Sarah.
Hi. So what are you doing?
Dude, forgot your wallet.
Ow.
Subjective realities. And we judge too quickly, and we assume we're right. The next step in the process is triggers, and this goes back so often. This goes back to childhood. Now, tonight we're going to be doing this process in a business relationship or in a office relationship. And normally this process, created by the Gottmans, is in a more permanent, like a marriage, a partnership. But it's actually no different. At the end of the day, whether it's in the office or whether it's at home, the stuff that triggers us, the voices inside, the things that come up, they come up. And often there's not a long list of them. So we'll explore that later tonight. Finally, we take responsibility. And this is about just an apology process that's a little bit better than Larry David knows. and the last is, let's plan to do something different. So I'm going to ask Teresa and Laura to join me now. And we're going to actually first describe what happened in this regrettable incident. And the incident actually happened. Go ahead.
Well, I was just tripping.
Oh.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, you can
I'm going to anyways. You know that, right? I was just going to say that, I think the first time we did this on our stage, it was you and I processing something in our marriage. And then there was a big fight with maple syrup. If you've been with us for years, you know about the maple syrup fight with me and the kids. So we processed that fight. And we also interviewed another couple once. But this time, we're going to tell you about a big mistake we made in our business. And there's lots of people in this audience who are part of the LifeApp team. And most of them have never heard this story before. But this is how we repair when things go wrong at LifeApp. And we thought, it's pretty vulnerable to get up and share when you've made a massive mistake. And we don't want to ask anyone to do something that we wouldn't do. And so that's what we're doing tonight. We're going to talk about the day we made a massive mistake.
Okay, so...
you go here, Laura.
Yeah, go
okay.
here.
So this is Laura.
Yeah, this is Laura. And I'm actually going to, although in this situation, both Teresa and I, as well as some of the advice we got from other leaders within our LifeApp team, are responsible for the mistakes. So I don't want it to be like this was between these two. It was actually Teresa and I and Laura. But I'm going to actually stand off to the side and kind of get an aerial view and coach you guys as we go through this process. So
what he's saying is it was his fault too, okay? Just want to make that clear. Right? Yeah, okay. So we want to give you a little bit of context because context is important to understand what exactly happened. And Jonathan, do you want to start and I'll jump in like I always do? Or is that wrong? You look shocked.
You go ahead.
Was it your line?
No, I wasn't really listening to what you just said.
All right, so I'm going to start with what happened, and then you can jump in, Laura, if you hear anything wrong. That's great. Mike Gleitman, is that your phone ringing? Oh. Okay. All right, so almost a year ago, we started something called the LifeApp 3-Day. We brought it back after COVID. And it is a massive undertaking that I really encourage all of you to go and find out more about, and we'll tell you more about it at the end of the night, but we have a table out there. Yes! Woo! So the LifeApp 3-Day is an administrative, I don't want to say nightmare, but it is an administrative ball, right?
It's a huge role.
Yeah. And Jonathan and I are both creatives, and administration's not our strength. And the person that did administration for us for the 3-Day 3 years ago is no longer with us. And she didn't die or anything like that. But so last October, as we were revving up for the 3-Day, we said, what are we going to do? And Laura came to us and said, I'm going to take a leave of absence from my work because I want to go on a...
It was my eat, pray, love after my divorce.
Right, like kind of a...
It's like a Buddhist spiritual journey?
Yeah, it was a Buddhist pilgrimage for 5 weeks, and then I went to Thailand and Bali for a month each myself. Just, de-stressing, and yeah, it was my divorce promise to myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Laura had come to us and said, you know, I'm going to be stepping aside from my job because I'm going to do this. It's a bucket list item. And do you guys have a position? Well, we're a relatively small nonprofit. The video is old. It said 6 years, but we're actually coming on 10 years. We're a relatively small nonprofit. We do not have a full-time wage for an administrative person, but we really needed someone to do admin. So we said, you know what, we'll scrape and we'll figure out something for 3 months. When you come back from your trip, let's see if we can find some way for the three of us to work together, because we have a really great energy together. We love being together. But honestly, we're a small nonprofit. We run on donations from people in the community, people that really believe in the work that we're doing. And when I said that to Laura, my thought was, you know, is there someone out there that's going to donate $70,000 for Laura's wage, right? And okay, so I'm going to hand it off to Jonathan, continue the context.
So Laura actually worked with us for 3 months. She helped us get up and running on the 3-day. She then also, we went through a complete 3-day, and then you handed it off to our daughter Tiana, who is also gifted administratively. And so...
And Laura did a great job doing the 3-day. Mm-hmm. So she went on her pilgrimage, and our job was to approach our board. And some of our board don't even know this story in its entirety. So it was to approach our board and say, look, we need an administrative person, and we want to hire Laura. She's a single mom, she needs a decent income, this is what our needs are, et cetera, et cetera.
So we had just completed another 3-day, and Tiana had been the administrative person in that. So our team got to see Tiana, our daughter, also working. And so at this board meeting, the question was raised, well, could we bring Tiana on as a student? Because we can't afford a full-time person. We only have a little bit of part-time, and could we do it not only part-time, but kind of as a stipend role? And as that discussion progressed, Teresa and I said, well, you know, this was a board meeting. We said, we have to recuse ourselves because this would be a conflict of interest for us to make that decision and weigh in on it. So we stepped out of the meeting, and then we received a call to say, because it was an online meeting, that come back on. And the decision was made that Tiana is something we could work with. We could actually fund that. It's not as much as a full-time, and it's
more of a
stipend
stipend
and so on,
yeah.
student costs and stuff. So,
Plus, she was doing a practicum in the fall, and so there was a lot of things
Yeah.
that were helping us. So my first thought was panic over, oh my gosh, Laura is still in Southeast Asia, and we can't phone her and tell her this there. So we didn't share it right away. She was coming home within a week or two. Is there anything else we need to add about that?
I don't think
Laura?
so. Is there anything, Laura, that you think of?
So fast forward 2 weeks, and Laura calls us, hey, I'm home. Can we get together? Just wondering how it went with the board meeting. And I think I had been really putting the whole thing out of my mind, just stressed about having to have a conversation, disappointed that we couldn't do what we'd wanted to do. And so we all went out for sushi, and we had a difficult conversation that left a whole plate of sushi in front of Laura. Although we thought she took it quite well, it didn't go well after the fact on a Sunday. And about Wednesday, I thought, I need to check in with Laura. And I did. And I got nothing. And then Thursday, I checked in again, and I think she responded and said, this is best recollection, you've rocked my world, and I will respond when I am ready. Pretty close? Yeah. So this threw me into a tailspin of concern, rejection, sadness. I'm losing my friend. A lot of stories going through my head. I've got to let Laura have time to process this. And then the weekend came, and it was Sunday, and we got a long letter from Laura. And it was a devastating letter, and it was an incredibly respectful letter. To Laura's credit, she had gone, is it okay if I share this? She had gone to her therapist and told them the story. And the therapist helped her work through the letter of her pain and what had happened. And so we met together on a Sunday night.
Well, I want to say, actually, the letter kind of said, guys, here's how I feel. I think I'm done.
Yeah, it was a Dear John letter.
It was a, I'm done.
Yeah.
Which was even more stress-inducing on this end, because it was like, okay, wow. This wasn't just, this didn't go slightly bad. This was like really bad.
This was really bad because
really serious. Laura
is really important to us. She's been tracking with LifeApp for probably 5 years, something like that. She's not just on the fringes. She'd become a part of our family. She was working in our home every day. It was a big deal. Okay, so
I think that sets up the scenario. That sets up the situation. So the first step in this repair process is for each of you to actually, one at a time, share what you felt in that moment. And literally, I'm going to recommend we go through the list. Like, this is the list that we're looking at here. And we go through this list of 54 different feelings and emotions, and you just pick them. And here's why I recommend we're going to do this all the way through. It's kind of it feels mechanical, but part of the advantage is what you want to do in this process is you want to step away from the fight or conflict. You don't want to get back into it. And you want to kind of act like you're standing on the balcony looking down on what happened. And so now we're going to actually just process that. So
that's awesome. Jonathan, Laura, can you and I kind of face each other? And Jonathan, can you kind of stand over here just so, or
yeah,
just,
I can do
okay,
that.
Awesome. I think if we turn our chairs just a tad, Laura, then people can see our faces. Okay. So the first step is our feelings. And Laura, you're going to start, right?
I think it's important that they know we haven't done this yet.
Yeah.
We have not practiced this because we wanted it to be authentic.
Yes.
So this is the first, like, we read the notes, but
we have repaired our relationship.
Yes.
But we are now taking a step back. Okay, awesome. Okay. We have repaired our relationship, right? Okay. All right, here we go. So, how did you feel?
My feelings got hurt. I was totally flooded. Like, I just remember driving in my car and just bawling and bawling and bawling. I was angry. I was sad. I felt unloved. I felt not cared about. I felt unsafe. I was definitely righteously indignant. I felt unappreciated, morally outraged. I felt like leaving. Well, I wrote a Dear John letter. I was overwhelmed with emotion. I was not calm. I felt powerless. I felt abandoned. I felt stupid and foolish. And I was definitely shocked. Yeah, that was shock. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of emotion.
And I think it's important that they know that I went thinking I was giving Tiana the job temporarily. So that's why I was shocked when I came back that she had it.
Yeah.
I felt stabbed in the back. I felt that she'd gone after it. That was the story I was making up in my head. So, yeah, I was just train wreck.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I just want to note, too, how many emotions. You know, often we don't give voice to the emotions. It's so critical that you voice them because you see that it's a lot more than just, yeah, I was upset.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail to those
There's
emotions.
17, I counted.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah. Yeah, and so when that happens, you go into fight or flight.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful, Laura. This isn't part of the process, but I'm going to throw it in there. I'm so grateful that you knew to say, time out. My world is rocked, and I can't talk to you right now, which is what most of us don't do. We fight through the situation while we're in fight or flight. You took that breath, you took a breather, and so thank you.
Okay, so Teresa.
Okay, so
in that moment,
well,
through that process, what were you feeling?
I felt super tense. I felt stupid. I felt really overwhelmed with emotion. I felt, this isn't on there, but I felt really afraid that I was going to lose my relationship with Laura because that's really important to me. I felt disloyal, culpable, and I felt guilty that I hadn't, that I didn't use my voice and stand up for you to the board and say, hang on. Laura's expecting this, we have to deal with that first. Anyways, we can come back to that. Okay.
Okay, so let's move to the next step in the process now, where we talk about subjective realities. And this is an opportunity where each of you are going to actually share your subjective reality of what was going on. Because, Laura, when you came back, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on inside of you that we had no idea was going on, and that was your reality. And then, Teresa, you can share. So whoever wants to go first.
Well, I think that, as can happen in any kind of disagreement or regrettable event, there can be one person who is far more injured than the other. And in this case, it was you, right? And so I really would love to defer to you for this, Laura.
But I'm going to jump in.
Okay.
And I'm going to jump in as now I'm with you, sitting on this side of this situation. I actually felt like we had actually consulted with a number of wise people to actually get an answer as to, well, would this be unfair? Would this be right? Would this, and so I actually felt there was a different reality that I was living that wasn't aligned with Laura.
For you.
For me.
But for me, all I could think is, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose Laura. I love Laura. That's all I could think of.
Okay, so.
Okay.
So let's start with your.
My reality was, before I left on my trip, I had lined up 2 part-time jobs, and one was with a colleague, and one I thought was going to be part-time. I really didn't expect you would find a full-time salary in 3 months. I thought maybe a part-time position. So I was, I'm 52. I just quit my job to go on this 3-month, Eat, Pray, Love, and I have 2 part-time jobs lined up when I come back, and my reality was that the colleague that was going to hire me, her business kind of sank, so she's like, I can't hire you, and I totally understood that. And then when I called you guys, it just felt like it felt to me as though the job had been given to Tiana, just really easily, that I felt easily replaced. That was my reality.
Yeah.
So, I'm 52 and I don't have a job now, so I was feeling, I was feeling very unsafe. And one of my 4 core needs is security. And without my 4 core needs, I can't function properly. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you summarize that for?
I heard you saying that you really had done the work to line up the situation so that you actually could go on this Eat, Pray, Love, this mission. And you had lined up the work responsibly. And I know this about you, Laura. You're a very responsible person. You get things done, so you would never just take off and not take care of things. And you thought you had your ducks in a row. It wasn't perfect, but you thought you had 2 part-time things that were pretty sure. And it was devastating to come back and find out that there was nothing, and that it was even more painful more difficult for you because safety and security is one of your core needs. And I can understand that because I don't know if all women feel that way, but I know I feel that way. I know it's very strong for me too. So did I get it right?
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
No. I will add that one of my other realities is, my 22-year marriage had just ended because my husband had betrayed me. And so, that's fresh. That was only, 4 years, until this. And I was like, God, everybody's just betraying me.
Right.
I felt betrayed, especially by Tiana.
Right.
And like she and I repaired, but it was visceral. Yeah, I just felt so that she took my job.
Yeah. So that was even harder to swallow than our betrayal, but was part of it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if we're going to go into it, but I agreed to talk to you guys when you reached out, but I was like, I am not ready to talk to Tiana.
Yeah.
I just,
Right, because we hadn't talked it through and you didn't realize what it, so it really, and even Tiana, I know, again, not part of the process, but I remember we processed this in our family as it was happening. We were talking to Tiana, and Tiana's like, well, of course she feels this way. She thinks I was gunning for her job, right? Like, she got it.
Yeah.
She understood it.
So, can you share your subjective reality? And now what I'm asking you to do actually is think about it as it unfolded, because if you had thought you were going to lose the relationship from square one, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. So you obviously missed the cues leading up. You missed something.
We,
I know.
right.
We.
Okay.
I'm part of it.
Well, I have to be, you know me, I have to be honest that once I started thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my friend Laura over this, I just started panicking. I just went into like, I can't sleep at night. I just panicked over that. And yeah, we knew that it was the right decision for the organization right now at this time. We knew that we just didn't have the funding. And a big part of it was I did not feel I could come to Laura and say, well, we could pay you a stipend. I felt that was incredibly disrespectful to her. So most of what was going on for me in my reality was, oh my gosh, I've hurt this person that I love, and maybe so much so that I'm going to lose her. Can you share your reality, or do you?
I can share mine. Yeah,
Okay.
actually, for the sake of this, I'll share. For me, it was a gradual process of. We had talked it through with a number of highly respected people that had been involved in many different organizations, and as the process unfolded, it seemed like the right decision. But then, when you came back, all of a sudden, as we started to be challenged about, well, that's how you felt, we started to get little glimpses of things. All of a sudden, I started to feel, oh my goodness, we have really wronged Laura. We did not follow a healthy process in this as an organization. And not only was it against you, it was also really bad form for the organization. So I just started to feel real ashamed that we had missed those cues and somehow taken that path.
Okay. Do you want to say what?
So what I'm hearing you say is that you were first and foremost scared about losing the relationship with me. Not anything to do with the organization so much, but just because I'd written the Dear John letter and I was like done, and yeah. So I hear that you were just flooded, and also you said that you didn't want to disrespect me by offering, a stipend or even just do it voluntarily on a volunteer basis, because you felt that would be disrespectful
Yes,
to me.
most definitely, I did.
Okay.
Do you want to say anything about what Jonathan said?
Yeah, I heard you say that you felt you had lined up your ducks in a row by talking to, business people and, what's the proper process, and yeah, you felt that it was, the right decision for the foundation at the time. And then once you heard my reality or my feelings, then you realized, I guess you thought we missed something. Yeah.
Big time.
It was one of those things where more information helped us go, oh, wait a minute, we did do something wrong here. There's something to own. Okay. So at this point, now we're going to move to, and this is about the triggers. And I'm just going to comment on this part of the process, whether it's a personal level or in this situation between colleagues. Many of us really have a very short list of triggers. It's really important to remember this. And here's why this is so important, because when you think about the people you work with or the family unit that you have or a spouse, if you take the time to work this process, you're going to learn in a very short time the handful or less triggers that affect that person. And that's going to give you intel to approach them differently so that you don't set those off unnecessarily. You can actually create a much stronger relationship when you understand that. So this is where that curiosity comes in, and you're like, I want to understand because I can get to understand you more, and that's going to create more intimacy when we understand that. So.
Okay.
And in this case, we're going to actually work through a list again. And it's just, these are common triggers. And of course, if there's something else that's not on the list, you can note that. But
So Laura, you go first.
So I think you'd said earlier 2 or 3.
Yeah, hone in on the two or three primary triggers.
Yeah, so, and these do relate to my, childhood triggers. So the first one is people will always betray me. I definitely have that trigger. I don't belong anywhere, and I am unimportant. Those are my triggers. And the reason I have those, and I just realized I had one of the triggers, I just realized one yesterday, but the first one that you guys have already heard is that when I was 12, I moved from Ontario to BC, and I left all my friends, and 12 is a hard time, like you want to fit in somewhere. And so I was in grade 7, and that was in middle school in Richmond, and I didn't fit in with any group. I was in the popular group for a bit, and then they kicked me out for a stupid reason, and then I was with the nerds, and then they didn't want to be with me, and then I guess it was between those two groups that, like, at recess, these really mean bullies were up at the front chanting, "Laura has no friends, Laura has no friends," and they did it for like 10 minutes. And I found nasty notes in my desk that, you're never going to find friends, and you don't fit anywhere, and you don't belong here. So that was a trigger that I hadn't realized was a trigger until you asked it when we met for coffee. Yeah. And the other one that I realized just yesterday is fresh out of college, travel college. I had an internship at a company, and my boss had basically promised me my dream job. I wanted to be a destination representative in Mexico, and that's someone who just takes care of all the tourists for this travel company. And he was like training me to be this person, and I was like on top of the world. I had this career going. I knew where I was headed, and he went on vacation, and his assistant, she was just a really unhappy person. She felt, I don't know, she was always competing with me, but I didn't know why. Nobody really liked her. She didn't have many friends, and I had all these friends, within 2 weeks. And anyway, she called the boss while he was away and basically fed him all these lies about me, and basically said I was defrauding the company. And so he called me from his vacation and fired me. And that was the end of my world. I was devastated. I went back to my travel college, to my principal. She called the company to try to patch it up, and they're like, no, she's dead to us. She can't ever come back and work here. She's done awful things. And I just remember calling my brother and saying, you have to come pick me up now, like, come now. And I couldn't even, like, he just let me cry all the way home. So that was really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it reminded you of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't even remember that trigger till yesterday. I'm like, oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Laura. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my triggers?
Yeah, what were...
So I continue to come back to the one trigger, which I'm realizing is a really big trigger. So one of my triggers is rejection. It's probably the biggest trigger. Whenever something's going wrong, I usually just need to go, I'm probably feeling rejected. But in this case, my trigger was loss. And I think that I get really triggered at the loss of people because my dad was sick most of my life from age 12 till 26. And I lived those years in fear that I would lose him. And so if I'm gonna lose somebody, it just shuts me down. So that was really going on for me because you're important to me. And I mean, sometimes people do come and go from our lives, but you are really important to me. And so that trigger of loss was definitely at play. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next step. It's important to understand those triggers before we talk about taking responsibility, because when you understand the other person and how deep, because like you said, this is really about that. And for most of us, the current situations we experience really have a cumulative power because of something else that's happened. So under ideal conditions, you might have done better working through this issue. What set up the miscommunication? What was your state of mind? So this is about what was the setup? What was going on in your life? What was going on in your life that actually set this up to even happen?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah. I wasn't feeling much confidence in myself, for sure. And I guess because I was betrayed so badly in my marriage, it was just my go-to now is cut ties before someone leaves you.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until we started processing and rebuilding our relationship. I didn't realize that's my new go-to.
Okay.
And it's not a good go-to, obviously. But yeah, so I definitely I was gonna cut ties. So because of that, I didn't ask for what I needed, which was clarity.
Mm-hmm.
If I had just reached out and said, do I have a space at LifeApp? Like, where is there a place for me? And
like after the whole thing, even, you mean? Yeah. So you were like in limbo, kind of, right?
Yeah, but I think I was just in fight or flight, and so I just did fight and cut the ties, and yeah, I didn't ask for what I needed.
Yeah.
Because it was the more details that I got later on that totally made sense to me.
Right. Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
like all the different steps of how it was decided in the board and why it was decided that way, and how Tiana was doing it as a practicum so that, it was essentially going to be free, and how you didn't want to, disrespect me, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Laura, for me, I think I remember after the board meeting, I shared with somebody who is like a mentor for me, I shared with her the situation, seeking wisdom. And she said to me, "You did what?" And then she said, I'm not trying to make myself a victim here. I'm just trying to make sense of it. And she said, "This is such an example of, I had doubled my construction business in the last 2 years. And we had ramped up the 3-day, and I was just living life not in a balance. And I was quite stressed out, and I was forgetting things. And she said to me, "I feel like if you were yourself, you would have picked that up in the board meeting. You would have said something. Wait a minute, because our board doesn't know all the intimate conversations that we've had with you, right? Only Jonathan and I could have said, well, hang on, there was this, and there's a nuance over here, but I just was like, actually in the moment I was thinking, they're saying no to an administrative person. That means I'm going to get the administration. I can't do the administration. I was freaking out about that, right? So, yeah. I think that set up the poor decision. And Jonathan was with me in it because we were both, doing our construction business and ramping up the 3-day. And I just feel we could have made better decisions if we were in a better place, for sure.
Yeah, we may have actually deferred to less informed opinions and accepted them as though they were fully informed and able to speak into it. And we went, oh, well, they thought this was an appropriate process. And so in that context, let's talk about ownership, what each party could own.
Like what we regret and could have done better?
Yeah, what you regret and what you could have done better.
So I'm going to start. I'm going to say, Laura. So for me, I really regret and wish that when it came up on the board and some of our team on the board said, well, we could hire a student for, more of a stipend rate. And that was my opportunity to stand up for you. I wasn't intentionally not standing up for you, but I really regret that I didn't pause. And because I know that our board would have listened. We have an amazing group of people. They would have listened. And I know that our board loves you and cares about you. They would have said, if we'd given more info. That was a critical moment that I wish I had done differently.
Yeah, and I'll join you in that. I believe that would have been the moment to say, pause. This might be a good idea, but before we do that, we need to actually give Laura a voice to say, well, I would actually accept a stipend because I'm just looking, whatever your voice would have been, we should have actually given you that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that we didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I overreacted. And I didn't check back with you when I was upset. I just cut you off. And yeah, it was only after I went to counseling after it that I realized that this is my new go-to. And it's not good. And I need to, and that's part of the reason why when you called and said, please don't shut us out, come meet with us for coffee, I was just like, I have to wade back in if I'm gonna stop this new norm.
Yeah. It was so brave, Laura. It was so brave. And even, like, I don't think you give yourself enough credit when you say, what was it you said, I cut you off. It was such a short cutoff. It was really still just processing what had just happened. Because it was the Thursday that you said, hey, blindsided, and Sunday that we went out for coffee. Like, that's cool. 4 days is not very long for a person to pick up the pieces. And it's one of the things I just admired and respected so much about you was that so often when you piss off people, they just turn away. Right? That's what happens. But when I said, Laura, please don't shut us out. Please, can we go for coffee? She leaned in. And even after we went for coffee, we said, can we keep doing this? And she said, yeah. And we said, we don't have any answers. We don't know how this is going to end. We can't fix this. We don't know what to do. We're not sure. And at one point we were just like throwing it all in the basket.
Yeah, because even, it was so great that when we were talking, you guys said, there are no decisions that have to be made this time. And because, friends and family were asking, well, are you going to go back and work for them? And I'm like, I don't know yet. And they said, well, what about the 3-day? And I'm like, I definitely don't want to be at the 3-day.
Yeah.
I was like, no, not ready to go to the next
didn't want to
3-day, which was in May. It was coming up really quick because
Yeah.
this was April. So it was coming up really quick. So even then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you go to the May 3-day?
Yes.
Yes.
And did you rock it?
Well,
yes.
Tiana,
Yes.
and that's the beauty of this, is that Tiana and I found a way to co-admin at the 3-day, which was fantastic, and just let, and it just let fresh air in, right?
Yeah. And also, we did a morning reset, and Laura's amazing at doing stretching and yoga, and so she starts our day for us, right, in a really amazing way. And then
I couldn't have done that if I had taken over the role completely. So, so it was, so I did come to the 3-day, but it took three coffees with you guys before I was like...
Yeah. And we had to pay, okay? I'm just saying. We're a charity. Please give us a donation when you leave. I'm still paying for Laura's lunch.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. We're gonna wrap this up now.
Okay.
By the last step.
Oh, sorry. Just one more thing that I do also take responsibility for is that that whole week, because we met on Sunday, and then I think I sent the letter on a Sunday, the next Sunday. Because I needed to cut ties, what I did that whole week was talk to everybody else except these two. I talked to my parents, I talked to my sister, I talked to my best friends, I talked to my counselor. I got my counselor on my side, okay? And
your counselor happens to have spoken on our stage and done this process demonstrating.
He knows them. And I spent the week getting everybody on my side so that I could feel justified in sticking it to them. And no, I'm cutting ties. And so that's the other thing I take responsibility for, is that I spent the whole week talking to not the right people.
Wow, that's gold, Laura. Yeah.
That is gold.
That's amazing. Yeah, you guys can clap for that.
Yeah. I was talking to everybody else and telling them my sob story, and this is pure nepotism, and she just took it, and everybody is, of course, oh, you poor thing, right?
Yeah. And that actually happens in our most intimate of relationships, and it's really dangerous. Yes, you do need to be able to share with safe people, right? So I don't fault you for that. But at times, we can go and talk to our girlfriends about our partner or vice versa, and then we lose that need to really have this conversation.
Yeah.
It leaks out to others instead of going to the right people.
Right. And it justified the story I was telling in my head, instead of talking to you guys and getting more details and getting the right story.
Yeah.
Because, and this is a really important thing to remember in life, even the wisest people in your life can only give you wisdom based on the information you feed them.
Totally.
Yeah.
So let's, we're
So
just time-wise.
we're going to share the one thing that we would do different,
One
right?
thing you'd do different next
Because
time.
can I go?
Yeah.
Okay. I've just
And let's make it succinct.
succinct. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm over 50 and I just forgot it. Shoot. Just a second. The one thing. Oh yes, the one thing I would do differently next time is I would not answer for you, and I feel like that's what I did. I feel like I thought, well, we can't offer her a stipend. That's, you know, I certainly can't ask her to volunteer. And there's so many reasons why I shouldn't have answered for you, but here's what I lost in that, is I remember you saying to me at one point, Teresa, I believe in the mission so much I would have done it for free. And I lost the opportunity to hear my person say, we're with you. I am with you. Now, we have since processed that Laura doing it for free would actually have down the road caused a lot of stress because eventually she can't keep doing it for free. But I did lose that moment because I answered for you. So that's what I would do differently I would have talked to you rather than answer in my head.
And what would you do differently?
I would definitely lean in and go to the source. Instead of employing all my friends and my family and my counselor and everybody who I could get on my side, I should have come to the source. And now that I'm aware that I have this trigger where I'm, cut them out before they betray me or cut me out, I definitely rode that train and I have to just stop it.
Yeah.
And go to the source. And stop talking to everybody else who isn't part of the story.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
I just want to say, Laura, I know for me, I feel that our relationship has gone far deeper and far more intimate since this incident has happened. Where do you land on that? I probably should have asked you that before I played my cards.
No,
It's like I said, I love you, and now you have to say, I love you back.
No, I feel more comfortable in my role, and like Tiana and I repaired, and I just don't think there would have been that opportunity if we'd, cut ties. There definitely wouldn't have been that opportunity if we'd cut ties, but it has given us, a deeper understanding of what our stories are and how you feel about me and how I feel about you, I hope.
Yeah, for sure, it has. So thank you. Thank you for your vulnerability, Laura, and that's the way you do it. That's the way you repair.
Walking home and talking lows, from seeing shows in evening clothes with you, nervous touch and getting drunk, and staying up and waking up with you. Now we're sleeping at the edge, holding something we don't need. This delusion in our heads is gonna bring us to our knees. Come on, let it go, just let it be. Why don't you be you, and I'll be me. And everything that's broke, leave it to the breeze. Why don't you be you, and I'll be me. And I'll be me. From throwing clothes across the floor to slamming doors and slamming doors at you. If this is all we're living for, why are we anymore. I used to recognize myself, funny how reflections change. And we're becoming something else, I think it's time to walk away. So come on, let it go, just let it be. Why don't you be you, and I'll be me. And everything that's broke, leave it to the breeze. Why don't you be you, and I'll be me, and I'll be me. Try to take your hand inside of mine when you know it just don't belong. No souls on earth can make you feel right. No, no. Try to fish this problem up here when it's just too heavy to hold. I think now's the time to let it slide. So come on, let it go, just let it be. Why don't you be you, and I'll be me. And everything that's broke, leave it to the breeze. Let the ashes fall, forget about me. Come on, let it go, just let it be. Why don't you be you, and I'll be me, and I'll be me.
We are so proud of this band. They spend hours and hours practicing, and they don't just pick any old song. We tell them the songs to do so that they work with the theme of the night, and we're proud of them, and thank you for the appreciation. Yeah. Paul, I'm going to invite you up here. I don't know where you are. Are you in the theater? Paul, there you are, my friend. Come on up here. Yeah. Well, you can clap for him in a second. He hasn't said anything yet, but... this is our friend Paul, and he's not going to tell you too much of his story because you're probably going to come back in 2024 and you're going to tell us more. Yeah, so this week you sent me a letter that I wrote a letter for you for your college. And as we were working together and just talking about your 3-day experience, I said, hey, I want you on stage, and here's why. At the end of the night, out in the foyer, we have a booth where we'll tell you all about the 3-day. I'm feeding back here. We'll tell you all about the 3-day. You can meet with Mike, go see him. He'll give you a free card, and he'll take you out for lunch. He's over here. You'll meet him. He's in the 3-day booth.
And what does Mike do?
He is our personal growth advisor for the 3-day. So, but first, we want you to tell people what you got out of the 3-day and why you would encourage them to go.
Thank you, for sure. I think the first thing was that just believing that I could take a 3-day break to go invest in myself, dig deeper into my thoughts, face my problems, and I didn't even think that was possible. Sometimes, now that I was older, not the little kid that I used to be, you have responsibilities, family, other commitments, school, and taking a 3-day break just seems impossible. You know, sometimes 3 hours seem like a stretch. Like I don't even got time for a movie. So taking those 3 days and just taking that time itself, I think was liberating. So that was the first thing. And the second thing, I think, was the opportunity to learn from other people's stories. Sometimes we get stuck in our own heads and we think our problems are the worst or nothing can get worse than our lives, and we really lose perspective. And just being in an environment where others are also being vulnerable and others are also showing courage, it not only encourages you to do the same, but it encourages you open up to new perspectives, and it encourages you to perhaps explore new possibilities, right? And I think that's really the power of community, that comes to show that when we're together and we share our feelings and we share how we're feeling, whether it's good or bad, that's how we can work towards solving those problems. And finally, I would say the approach is taken in the 3-day. There's multiple different exercises, and it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, and I think that's what really makes the program unique. Different things take place on different days, and perhaps not every exercise or everything will work for you, but the one that will click, or the ones that I should say will click, they'll really do the work that needs to be done. And at last, it's a community that sticks with you forever. It's just not for those 3 days. The 3 days are just a beginning. And next time around, if you ever need to talk to someone, the least you'll walk away with is new friends.
No, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Budge and Paul, I want to ask, yes.
Thank you.
I want to ask one thing. If you could boil down and just go, okay, what was one of the more significant aha moments for you? And maybe not even at the 3-day, but it was like I walked away with, I got this. And I wasn't able to get it before that, but you've got it.
I think my personal statement, which I came to rediscover and affirm by the end of the 3-day, was was my greatest takeaway. I shared with everyone at the end of the 3-day that my name is Paul, and I am a man of love, courage, and integrity. And that's something that I refer to often. And I think just rediscovering that and finding new meaning behind that was the biggest takeaway.
Because that's, how long ago since you went through the 3 days? Is it almost a year?
It's about a year
It's almost
ago.
been a year.
Yeah, it's been a year.
Almost a year.
So yeah, living that out, that's been the one that's really...
Yeah, and at that time, it was just a statement, and I was just putting the energy out there in the world, and having to live it now, it's a great feeling. So that's what excites me the most for everybody, is to find that statement for themselves, and
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Paul, thank you so much. And as you can see, he is
You're
now
welcome.
the poster child of the LifeApp 3-day.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And we
No
are
problem.
definitely going to get you back because you are very well spoken. And I just, I have so much respect for you. So
Excited to be back.
yeah, we're going to bring you back and you can tell your story in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we just want to let you know that LifeApp is a registered Canadian charity, and everything that goes on in this theater, what we do is it happens because of incredibly dedicated volunteers, and it happens because people give and they donate because they care about what it is that's happening in this theater and what's happening in our community. Because healthy families and healthy relationships make healthier cities and healthier towns, right? So we want to thank you because when we came back in July after 3 years hiatus from the pandemic, when we came back, we started charging for tickets. And this was really a difficult decision for us because we want to make this information accessible to all people. And we have a, buy a ticket and come. We have a buy one and sponsor one so that somebody who might not be able to come can come and appreciate the event. This event costs us a lot of money to put it on, but we've been doing it for 10 years because we believe in the work of relationships and healthy relationships. So we want to invite you to go, and if you believe in the work, if you want to contribute back, you can go to our financial table and donate. You can get a charitable receipt for any donations. We also sponsor people sometimes, like Paul, to go through the 3-day program. So check out our financial table. Check out Mike at the 3-day, but most of all, in this moment, I want to shine the light on a company that has helped us put on this event tonight, and that is Dead Frog Brewery. We are so grateful to Dead Frog. Yes, please. Oh, there they are. There they are. So we want to thank Donna and Derek Smith. They have provided our food tonight. I think there's kombucha, but I'm not sure.
There is.
I know there's no beer because it's a school and we can't have it. So, Derek and Donna, I just thank you guys so much for your commitment to this community, to your commitment to personal growth. I want to ask you, as an audience, these are the kinds of businesses that are trying to make a difference in our community, and I'd like to invite you to please support them. They have a great restaurant, and the vibe is wonderful there, and their staff is amazing. So please support them because they are supporting us, and it makes such a difference. Okay? Anything else?
Okay, and then coming up next, we have 2 events coming up. We have the 3-day in November 2 to 5. And we've already spoken about it a lot, but I can't encourage you enough. If you want to do a real deep dive reset, it's like, it's an opportunity. It's one of the, like Budge and Paul said, it's one of the best gifts you can give yourself. Who takes those 3 days, and it is truly a powerful gift.
Talk to Mike. And
the next live event, like this tonight, will be November 24, right here, GC Pass Theater.
So we want to invite you to just take a moment and consider all that you've learned and heard in this theater tonight. We want you to consider, what's one thing that I can take out of here and talk about around my coffee table or my kitchen table? What is one nugget that I could take to the relationships in my life and improve them? What's one thing? Think about that while you listen to this song. And we're just thrilled that you were here with us this evening.
In the home stretch of the hard times, we took a hard left, but we're all right. Yeah, life sure can try to put love through it, but we built this right. So nothing's ever gonna move it when the bones are good. The rest don't matter, yeah, the pain could feel. The glass could shatter, let it rain. 'Cause you and I remain the same. When there ain't a crack in the foundation, baby, I know any storm we're facing, it'll roll right over while we stay. The house don't fall and the bones are good.
Call it alright, baby, you and I can't even mess it up, though we both try. No, it don't always go the way we planned it, but the wolves came and went. We're still standing when the bones are good, the rest don't matter, yeah, that pain could feel. Glass could shatter, let it rain. 'Cause you and I remain the same. Well, there ain't a crack in the foundation, baby, I know when somewhere facing will go right over while we stay. The house don't fall and the bones are good. And the bones are good.
Bones are good, the rest don't matter. Pain could feel the glass, glass could shatter. Bones are good, the rest don't matter. Pain could feel the glass, glass could shatter. When the bones are good, the rest don't matter. Pain could feel, glass could shatter. Let it rain, 'cause you and I remain the same. When there ain't a crack in the foundation, baby, I know any storm we're facing will blow right over while we stay put. Flowers don't fall when the bones are good.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming tonight. And join us in the lobby for some great food and conversation. And let's keep these conversations going. From Dead Frog Brewery.